All right, let's just jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a seriously fascinating piece of our own history. We're rewinding the clock thousands of years to look at this very specific, honestly kind of strange thing ancient humans did right after a successful hunt. On the surface, it might seem a bit odd, but as you'll see, it literally shaped who we are today.
Section 1. The Strange Ancient Ritual. So what exactly happened after a successful hunt?
Picture this. Our ancestors are totally exhausted after a dangerous hunt in this unforgiving prehistoric environment. They finally have the animal right in front of them. Now, you'd think the next step is pretty obvious, right? Just eat. But they didn't just eat the meat. They had this massive food source sitting right there, but they deliberately held off. They went a step further. Instead, they smashed the bones. I mean, they took these incredibly tough, rock-solid skeletal structures and purposefully broke them open. They actually spent precious time and energy hacking into the skeleton just to get at what was hidden deep inside. So you gotta ask yourself, why? Think about it for a second. You're an early human. You live in a highly dangerous world where every single calorie counts, and burning extra energy could literally be a matter of life and death. Why on earth would you expend so much precious energy and time cracking open rock-hard bones when you already have perfectly good meat right there?
Section 2. Nature's Hidden Treasure, a seriously valuable food source.
Well, it turns out inside those hard bones was arguably one of the most valuable foods in the entire prehistoric world: bone marrow. If you don't know, marrow is this soft, fatty substance that's just absolutely packed with calories, nutrients, and pure energy. Finding this and figuring out how to extract it, that was a massive game changer. For early humans just trying to survive the day, cracking a bone was basically like hitting an evolutionary jackpot.
Now sure, the meat from a large animal was readily available once the hunt was over, and it could definitely feed them for days. But meat wasn't the whole prize. Hidden inside those bones was fat. And back then, fat wasn't just food, it was an absolute necessity. It was the crucial element they needed to survive the harshest conditions.
To really put the power of this fat into perspective, let's compare it to foraging. Plant foods were around, of course, but a lot of them had a very low energy density. You had to eat a massive amount of them just to get what you needed to get by. Animal fat, on the other hand, gave them enormous amounts of concentrated energy in a tiny, tiny package. The caloric payoff for the effort was just huge.
Section 3. Fueling the human brain. Finding energy for the mind. So, why did our ancestors actually need all that extra fuel? Well, it all comes down to the human brain, which happens to be one of the most energy-demanding organs in the entire body. It hogs a massive portion of our daily energy supply compared to everything else. It simply cannot run on empty. It requires a constant, high-octane supply of fuel just to function, let alone to grow.
Which brings up a fascinating theory. Could meat plus marrow equal larger brains? A lot of scientists believe this specific combination was actually the key. Having access to high-quality, energy-rich foods like meat and, crucially, that super calorie-dense marrow may have been exactly what supported the evolution of our larger, much more complex brains. Without that dense energy, supporting such a demanding organ would have been next to impossible.
Section 4. Unlocking the tough bones. Because accessing that marrow was no easy feat. Getting to this evolutionary superfood was actually a real challenge because the bones of large animals were incredibly tough. It was basically an engineering problem. Step 1, you hunt the animal. Step 2, you eat the available meat. But step 3, that's where the magic happens. Early humans used stone tools to forcefully crack those incredibly tough bones open, finally revealing the highly nutritious food hidden inside. This wasn't a biological adaptation, like developing a stronger jaw. No, this was a technological one. And the coolest part is, we don't just have to guess that they did this. We have hard proof. Archaeologists have actually found ancient animal bones covered with specific marks, tool marks and fracture patterns that show exactly where humans deliberately broke them apart to access the marrow inside. The evidence of this incredible effort is quite literally carved into Stone Age bones. Section 5. A leap in evolution. Putting intelligence to work. This specific behavior shows us something truly remarkable. Our ancestors were figuring out how to unlock resources that other scavengers simply couldn't touch. While a predator like a hyena might struggle with a massive, thick femur, a human with a rock could crack it right open. They used their intelligence and their tools to solve a physical problem, turning what was a really difficult obstacle into a massive survival advantage.
So you see, bone marrow was not just a meal. It really wasn't just a quick snack at the end of a long hunt. It was a catalyst. It represented a major, defining step forward in human evolution. It is amazing to think about, really. Just picture it in your head, a simple stone hitting a bone. That basic, raw, everyday action helped reveal one of nature's absolute richest sources of energy.
And hidden deep inside those ancient cracked bones may have been exactly what we needed. The marrow provided part of the very fuel that helped build the modern human brain. Think about that. We are quite literally shaped by that simple, deliberate act of smashing a bone.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to consider. If that hidden, difficult-to-reach marrow fueled the evolution of our early brains back then, what hidden fuels, whether we're talking dietary, technological, or informational, are shaping our evolution today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next one.